I was absolutely heartbroken when I picked up Danny's second phone, had a look at it and saw flattering messages to another woman. That transformation that I'd witnessed was no longer. He'd sent a text that broke my heart. I first met Danny through social media. He was looking at my stories, so I sent a message asking him what he was looking at, and we ended up swapping telephone numbers. He called me, we had a short conversation, and after seeing Danny a few times and I had got pregnant, I kept it away from him for 11 weeks because I wasn't sure what I was doing. But after the 11th week, I told him I was pregnant, and he was excited to be a dad. He was really excited. He told me that this was it. He was going to put 2 feet in and we was going to learn everything about each other and be together as a family. So Danny's love is incredibly intense to receive, and it's also really beautiful to receive. Danny would, if I coughed in the night, he would wake up and ask me if I wanted to drink. You know, before he left the house, before he even left the drive, if he was going somewhere, he would text me, "Oh, I love you, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me," etc., etc. Danny always had a leniency to drugs through the entirety of our relationship. He would wake up most mornings and say, "I'm not going to do anything today." And come the evening, he would be a little bit paranoid and quite intense, and he would use marijuana. He was particularly compelled to psychedelics, magic mushrooms, whether that's through microdosing, but not the microdosing amount, a large amount. It was intense watching Danny's drug use daily. I was absolutely heartbroken when I picked up Danny's second phone, had a look at it and saw flattering messages to another woman that he'd met the week before. Not only was he texting her, he was calling her and leaving her voicemails, and that was the beginning of the end for me. And I think he knew that too, because throughout our marriage, I can confidently say he was completely faithful. And that little voice in the back of your head that knows his reputation, but also saw his transformation, I knew in that moment that transformation that I'd witnessed was no longer. He'd sent a text that broke my heart. We had spent a few days arguing over these text messages. So when he left, he just frantically got a suitcase and put 4 pairs of jogging bottoms in it. And he said, "I'm allowed to come back, aren't I?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I thought he was just going to go to his friends for the night because our arguments had been intense, but he never came back. And the next thing I know, he had announced our split on Instagram, without my knowledge, without telling me, discussing it. It was news to me. At the same time, it was news to the public.
Anna, back here, right? And then Anna, here for me.
Now over this way.
How do I feel about Danny and Anna Lynn? Good luck to them. I wish them well. Looking back on the marriage and Danny now, I think I'm grateful that I'm no longer in the marriage, because I can now see that Danny loves the idea of love, and he love bums and he gaslights, and you know, that's what I feel happened to me. But I am glad it's over. New beginnings, new chapter, and yeah, I'm speaking from a place of peace and not a place of pain.